For those that watch SwitchCorner, you may know I'm a big fan of anime arena brawlers, and while I'd love to see them do more than just this genre, I guess, with these licenses, Bandai Namco definitely seem to have a copy and paste formula that is working extremely well for them. Well, today we're going to be looking at Jujutsu Kaisen Cursed Clash, a game I've been extremely excited for, but can it find its way in what is definitely becoming now an overpopulated genre? Let's take a look. My name's Alex, this is SwitchCorner, and if you do enjoy the video, subscribe helps out the channel a huge amount. So Cursed Clash takes us through events from Season 1 and the movie Jujutsu Kaisen 0, unfolding across 6 chapters for a total story mode lasting somewhere in the region of 6 hours. Now, similar to its contemporaries, the narrative is rich in dialogue, with battles serving to enhance these different scenarios. Now, without diving too deep into specifics to keep spoilers at bay, the core idea revolves around all living beings emitting cursed energy from negative emotions. Now, since ordinary folks can't manage this, it leads to curses manifesting in the real world. They're basically monsters. Now, Jujutsu sorcerers or technique masters, they tap into this energy, using it in combat to rein in these monsters that do pose a threat to the worlds. It's an incredible narrative, no question about it. However, I must admit here, the delivery here is just underwhelming. It's been pared down to still images with very minor movement animation, and it fails to capture the excitement of the source material. To me, it's a missed opportunity, especially after seeing what Demon Slayer delivered with its full 3D cutscenes. You could compare this to the delivery of My Hero 1's Justice 2, but at least there it was highly stylized. It's particularly disappointing as well when you finish a chapter and you are treated to a brief 3D animated segment because you get a glimpse of what this game could have been. Diving into gameplay then, let's start with positives. The combat is fun, and when the 2v2 battles get going, they can be action-packed. This is also supported then by a great roster of characters. It features 16 in total, and each feels unique, though they of course share that same control scheme. Now, the controls become equipped with 3 attacks, which can be changed up with directional inputs, and this is then alongside special moves or cursed energy techniques, which can be leveraged as you feel the cursed meter under your health bar in the lower left of the screen. Now, moreover then, some characters boast supreme arts. These are basically unblockable attacks, and then there are domain arts. This is a particularly rare ability which allows them to essentially alter the battlefield around them. The game also, for me, cleverly utilizes a 2v2 format. For instance, one player can launch an enemy into the air for their partner to strike, and should they connect, it results in devastating damage. Even match rules here are actually quite unique. This isn't your typical one-round fighter. Instead, the battles are actually timed, injecting a sense of almost urgency into the battle. Regarding determining a winner, then each team is allocated a set number of team lives, and the goal is to either deplete the opponent's lives or have more remaining should the timer run out before one team can fully take down the other. These battles then will take part over 10 arenas, and there's definitely a decent selection in here, and many of them even feature destructible elements. However, there are noticeable drawbacks here as well. So while the arenas are larger than most genre entries, I often find myself fighting against invisible walls because many of these moves just send opponents flying. Also, the combat system feels restricted. Sequences end here incredibly quickly. Most seem to be about 4 punches, and then your opponent falls to the ground. My guess here is that the game's mechanics are designed this way because almost any hit in this game will trigger a stun lock, which is a major gripe for me. It simplifies fights into a contest of who can land the first hit, which somewhat, diminishes the depth of the combat. This often forced me into a defensive stance, biding my time for the right moment to strike. The inability here as well as to cancel attack animation so I could block was a big shortcoming. Also, I think it leaves players just vulnerable for way too long. To mitigate the impact then of frequent knockdowns, which you're going to be seeing a whole lot, the game does try to help by granting a brief invincibility period as the player recovers, but even this leads to moments of frustration because then if you're, beating on an opponent, you're unable to capitalize on what appears to be this prime opportunity to strike. Also, additionally, the game restricts attacking opponents on the ground, and only a select few characters can recover while mid-air. I actually think that would solve a lot of the problems. It would be the ultimate solution, so you can just get right back to the action, and then you'll never have that need for those invisibility, I guess, sequences. Through all of this, however, one of my main problems is with the game modes on offer. In story mode, there's moments for 1v1 fights, even a handful of special encounters, think 2 or 3 versus 1. These, though, I will admit, can be painful due to that stun lock from a single opponent's hit. However, beyond the story mode, the game strictly adheres to a 2v2 format, leaving me kind of puzzled about the absence of a 1v1 option. This oversight becomes particularly grating in single player mode, where you need to manage your AI partner, and it just kind of feels like this unnecessary chore. Are they getting beaten up in the background that you are not aware of? Adjusting their difficulty level, sure, might mitigate the issue slightly, but their defeats count against the team's overall performance. And to give you an example of this, during a recent stream, I played 6 matches and 5 ended in defeat, largely because my AI teammate was taken down 3 times while I was only defeated once. Now, you can issue commands to your partner using the D-pad, but yeah, it just doesn't seem to solve much of the AI's inability to hold its own. Naturally, online is going to give you player-controlled teammates, which mitigates the issue, but for single-player fans out there, it's definitely something you should be aware of. Online play seems to have been given the most attention, and my experience here was limited primarily because the game was only available in Japan at the time, resulting in some lag issues. I do attribute this to the distance affecting the connection, but when you do get online, there's a nice traditional character select screen that works well, and yeah, you've got ranked and even unranked matches. However, this is a stark contrast to what you're going to find in the single player mode. In single player mode, the character selection process is awful. You're presented with just the names, no portraits or character models. This setup is frustrating, especially for those not familiar with the characters, making it actually a hurdle to simply selecting a character. This aspect urgently needs fixing. It feels like a shortcut that harms the experience, and quite honestly, I'm not sure how it even got past internal testing. So that wraps up the main aspects of gameplay. Alongside the core modes though, the game does feature character relationships during the story mode. These serve to unlock cosmetics and in-game currency. There is then a store where these earnings can be spent on various items, think poses, more cosmetics and sound clips. Definitely generous as well with its currency. I had nearly reached 1 million in-game currency once I beat the main story, and I wasn't even at 100%. And finally, there's also a gallery that contains stats and fight replays. Visually, I'm impressed. This is a testament to why I'm so drawn to this genre. I often approach arena fighters with a bit of concern, wondering how well they will perform on current hardware, yet the majority of the time I always have fun. Bandai Namco though just consistently managed to optimize performance impressively, and this one is no exception. Throughout my 10 hours the game ran smoothly even during some of the many chaotic scenes. The animations then stand out, particularly for special moves. They're enhanced with these 3D cutscenes, and also I do think the models are really well done. However, once again, the story mode's reliance on still images definitely fell short of expectations. Regarding the arenas as well, while there are 10 to choose from, I do wish there was a little more variety. Several felt too similar, such as the multiple school locations. And on another note then, the image quality, although generally impressive, it does show signs of pixelation, particularly as opponents distance themselves. If I had to guess, it appears there's a dynamic resolution to maintain performance during those demanding scenes. Despite this though, the game performs well, and I think they balanced visuals and smooth gameplay perfectly. Audio finally, and I believe this has all been composed for the game instead of lifting from the anime itself. It is good stuff though, honestly. The music is upbeat as you would expect, leaning into that kind of rockier tones frequently, and then the characters, they are each voice acted for that story mode. Attacks sound really nice as well, of course, and then I will say the only thing that maybe annoyed me a little bit too much was the characters kind of said the same thing over and over during battle, and that will definitely start to grate. Rating Jujutsu Kaisen Cursed Clash then presents a bit of a dilemma for me. While the combat delivers fun moments, the game is hampered by issues ranging from core gameplay mechanics to a notably limited array of modes. The absence of a proper character select screen in single player is particularly weird. Coupled with its then $59.99 USD price tag, the game's value proposition just falls short when compared to other more affordable titles in the genre. You know, I think the way you've got to look at these is most of these games are built for the fan base. That makes sense. And I've always had that sense of they don't really respect the audience enough. But this one really does feel lazy in many ways. Now, if you are a fan of the anime or the manga, I'll say this. I have no doubt you're going to still enjoy this. And that is why today I'm going to be giving it an above average 6 out of 10. I just want to make sure to point out here, there's many better alternatives available. Demon Slayer, My Hero One's Justice 2, Naruto, and the list goes on. So will you be picking up Jujutsu Kaisen Cursed Clash on the Switch? Let us know in the comments. With that, hit subscribe, join us here for reviews, deals, news and lists daily, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.